Hey everyone, in this video I'll be talking about this guitar. Some of the good things about it, some of the bad things about it is going to be basically an honest review. I got this guitar around 3 years ago. You can still get this model. They have a limited choice of colors now, but it's your Brian May signature guitar. It's more of a tribute model rather than a signature. If you guys know, Brian May and his father built their own guitar in 1965. I believe it was finished in 1965, and it was built out of scraps and pieces of table wood and fireplace mantle and other things lying around. So this is a cheap, inexpensive, I should say, guitar that sort of comes very, very close to the actual guitar, but has obvious compromises. First of all, this color was very hard to find. I had to wait for several months, and it was listed as on back order. Then they removed the color altogether, and then finally this color showed up. I really wanted something that is not an obvious kind of copycat color, so green was it. This guitar, again, so on the real guitar, real Red Special, the tremolo system is the knife edge system. There's a bridge with rollers, and this piece actually is just for decoration, but the actual springs and the tremolo arm are further to the back of the instrument. This is a Wilkinson tremolo system, which is a 2-point tremolo, very similar to a Stratocaster. The modern Stratocaster has got springs in the back. The real Red Special does not have this plate because there are no springs in the back. Springs would be actually here. What else? Because of the fact that this modern tremolo system was put in, the pickups had to be shifted closer. On the real Red Special, the bridge pickup, for example, is probably over here. So as a result, the pickups are closer. The only true position of the pickups is this one. This one is in the right place. Everything else is squashed together. Again, it doesn't really make a whole ton of difference, but not exactly accurate. So regarding the bridge, I replaced the saddles with my favorite Graphtec string saver model saddles. They're black. Also, I just like to paint my guitars different colors. I colored it black so it looks better. I think it does. Oh, so another thing on the real Red Special, the pickups have these plastic surrounds because on this guitar, the pickups are screwed into this pick guard. That's another big difference between this guitar and the real one, is that on the real one, the pots, the switches, all are attached to the body itself. And then the cover is just put on top. Here, everything, if you can see, there's screws. That's where all the switches are mounted, and the pickups as well. It does make a subtle difference. For some reason, I noticed that if you attach pickups to the body itself, there's less hum, surprisingly, and you don't get that click kind of pick attack because of that. Still very close. Okay, so that's that. The neck profile, I believe, is pretty accurate. Everything else here is fine. There's the zero fret. I personally can't stand the zero fret. The reason is the strings start to carve out grooves in the fret, and you get this ping because the string kind of jumps in and out of this groove. I put a piece of tape. It's functional, and I prefer the feel of a real nut as opposed to this zero fret nonsense. Again, it's supposed to improve the tuning stability, but I hate the zero fret. Okay, next, this coin is a sixpence, glued it here because it looks cool, and the original also has a sixpence glued here. The tuners on this guitar, when I got them, they were locking tuners, Grover style automatic locking tuners. What this means is you start tuning your strings, and then it just grabs your string and it's locked. The problem with that is that for me, it was just biting off the E string, and then it started doing the same thing with the B string. You're tuning it, and then it just cuts off the string because there's some burrs or something. And I got so sick of it. I also, when you change the strings, you have to like yank out the strings with pliers. I just replaced them with good old regular non-locking tuners. It's an added 4 minutes maybe time difference every time I change strings, but I was so sick of having my strings, having to kind of think, is my string going to get cut while I'm playing? This does not have that problem. Oh, another thing about the tremolo system, the springs were very noisy. That was driving me nuts. Every time you apply the arm, it goes like bang. I solved that by stuffing some foam in there. You can't really see it, but just something to absorb the vibrations, and now it's silent, completely silent. Another thing I did to this guitar, and you can call me crazy, but I don't like the feel of ebony fretboards. Even rosewood's fretboards, but ebony especially. For some reason, my fingers, when I start sweating, get stuck to the wood. And when you're doing a bend, you always have to like figure out what you're doing wrong. And I tried this out, and I put clear nail polish, one of those like Sally Hansen hard as nails, the lacquer you put on top of your after you apply the nail polish, and it's not exactly perfect, but it's shiny, and I never have any issues with my fingers sticking. If I get tired of it, I can certainly take some nail polish remover and take it off. Another thing, I got these glow-in-the-dark dots here and here. It's not really dark now, but they glow green, and it comes in handy if you're playing on a dark stage, and you can see it lasts maybe I don't know, 20 minutes or so. If you want to make enter the stage for dramatic effect, a completely dark stage, and actually know what frets you're supposed to play on, you're supposed to put your fingers on, this comes in handy. Okay, this guitar has so many problems. I still love it. Another thing is that these pickups are attached with these screws, and what I started noticing is that the screws were loose. They started loosening by themselves, and the pickups were dropping into the guitar. If you guys know, on vintage Stratocasters, there's a little rubber tube that goes between, like on the underside, between the pickup and the screw, and it kind of holds the screw in place. Some guitars have a spring, but in my experience, the little tube is a much better way of making sure your screw stays in place. I solved that problem by my favorite nail polish. So now the pickups are not going anywhere. And okay, now let's actually get some sounds. Oh, another thing, the guitar does not stay in tune very well at all. Let me show you. I think it's because of this nut. I think it needs to be filed in some more. Maybe if I keep playing it more, it will get better. But it's in tune, right? But if I do a bend, it's really, really badly out of tune. But if I do my method of touching the whammy arm, it's back in tune. But I just think that it does not stay in tune as well as my, for example, Stratocaster. Also, it could be because the scale length is so short, every little difference is amplified. Okay, now some more crappy things about this guitar. The knobs are, the pots are complete garbage. My biggest complaint about this is, by the way, this is the volume and this is the tone. Okay, so, and this is the tone. It's like a Gibson style pot, and it sucks because it has no clean room whatsoever. It's just loud. Like here, I want it to